So as you've gone deeper into this rabbit hole, there's people that are behind Bitcoin, right? They're the ones that wrote the code. They're the ones that now keep that code up and keep it updated. Like, what do you know about those people now that
I'm
you've spent
so
more
happy.
time?
I'm so happy you asked that question. Man, this is one of the things that I'll bring up in my classes sometimes, and I try not to talk too much on it because really I just want to point out how strange it is, and then silence, let that sink in for a second. So here it is. The person or persons who created Bitcoin, right? They have 1 million Bitcoins, about 1 million Bitcoins. A Bitcoin costs about $10,000, maybe more. I haven't checked today. It might even be 11 or 12 today, right? But that means that the person who created Bitcoin has about $10 billion worth of value, and they've never touched it, ever.
Wow.
Right? This is 11, right?
Wow.
11 years now Bitcoin has existed, and whoever created it, who has not been unmasked, there is one guy who says that he's, Satoshi Nakamoto, but, and I don't want to take political sides, because I don't know. I don't want to get sued by him. But, a lot of people think that he's a scammer and that, he hasn't proved it yet, because theoretically, how would you prove that you're Satoshi Nakamoto? It would seem that you should be able to move that $10 billion. You should be able to move some of it. And to sign a transaction that anyone else can see on the blockchain, can see that it was moved. Well, it's never happened, right? And so how can that be? And especially, why would someone go and buy a Bitcoin, when $10 billion worth of Bitcoin at any moment could be sold, on the exchange? Nobody knows. It's a very risky proposition. And so I don't know if your listeners are familiar with the foundation.
No. I mean, like I've been so far out of it. Once I got it, once I was like, all right, this is an investment. We're calling it a wild card investment. I'm holding. I'm just going to leave it there. Then
Yeah.
I have walked away and know very, very little about the current state. I know for a while there was tumultuous politics. There were people going to jail. There was all kinds of
Yeah.
craziness. So I don't know anything at all about who's running it now.
Yeah, I was just gonna the foundation. I'm not referring to like a foundation. I'm the foundation, the book.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Isaac
yeah,
Asimov. Oh yeah,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah. I have a book
Which,
club and we read Asimov. Yeah, of course.
yeah. Well, Rob Long, you're a guy you've had in your podcast. He actually recommended the book to me, and he was right. I loved it. And see, I'm still talking about it, right? But in the foundation, there's this character, or there's this the second foundation who are able to hack people's brains and kind of find out what are their motivations and the things that they think of. And just in that context, I'm just trying to imagine the psychology of this person, Satoshi Nakamoto. So they haven't spent any of their $10 billion, right? So physical wealth is meaningless to this person, right? So wow, already this is like a philosopher king, whoever this is. Like they're wealth, they don't care. But the other thing is they don't care about glory either. Nobody knows who they are. Like, it's one thing if you don't want to spend any of your Bitcoins because you think that, people would be scared, like you have too many of them, you don't want to risk it. But what kind of man, a person, woman, anybody, their ego, you created Bitcoin and you don't need everyone to know that. Like, who is this person? Like,
I mean, it defies reason, and in fact,
yeah.
like in many ways, the even more surprising thing is, let's imagine it's not a person. Let's imagine it's 5 people. Think about how much harder it would be to keep 5 people's egos in check. And like,
Oh, yeah.
even if you signed a contract, even if they never told a single person that let that secret leak out, like I can't think of any other example. It'd be like going and building the pyramids and then
Well,
not taking credit for it.
so I should mention, because I don't want anything to get blown out of proportion, is that there's a possibility that this guy, Craig Wright, is actually Satoshi. I mean, there's this guy named Hal Finney, who one of the denominations of Bitcoin is named after him. A Finney is a certain amount of decimal points. He is like the second developer to work with Satoshi, and so he's like the guy to talk to him. And so he died a couple years ago, and the lawsuits with Craig Wright are from his estate. Or no, this isn't from Al Finney. I'm being confused. That's Ira Kleiman. Now I'm getting really confused. Anyway, all I wanted to say is that maybe Satoshi is Craig Wright, and he lost the keys. And this would be a tragedy, right? This is like, the classic Shakespearean tragedies. Imagine that your hero, Satoshi Nakamoto, invents Bitcoin and then loses his car keys, and so no one will ever believe you. It's like, that's like a Greek tragedy or something. It's, that could be happening right now, right?
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you're interested in conversations like this, you might want to join the Articulate Ventures Network. There, we're a patchwork of thinkers looking to explore different ideas, having our ideas respectfully challenged, and figuring out different ways of looking at the world. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.